Hey everyone, Honey Don't is a new stylish whodunit film by Ethan Coen, starring Margaret Qualley, Chris Evans, and Charlie Day, that feels like a real period piece set in modern times. From the way it's shot to the landscape angles, the set designs, and the costuming, it really is a beautiful film to watch. But how's the story? Does it hold up as a crime thriller with a sexy female private detective as a lead? Because on the surface, it looks funky and fresh, but you never know what you're going to get in today's cinematic selections. So let's break it down and be sure to give this review a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks so much. All right, so Honey Don't is a sexy whodunit investigative thriller where Honey O'Donoghue, a private investigator, gets hired by Mia Novotny, who ends up dead before the film even begins. Set in a small town, Honey's investigation takes her deep into the community and into their network of secrets. And we also get a bunch of sidebar stories that shows us everything that's happening kind of in the orbit of this murder. After a series of unfortunate incidents and surprising twists that kind of do actually keep you guessing, Honey eventually winds her way to the clues that will finally blow the lid off this case and maybe so much more. It's a cleverly constructed mystery that keeps you kind of on the edge of your seat while also making you wonder who in this film is actually related to untangling Honey's case. At times, Honey Don't is wildly confusing because the story is so layered that it intentionally confronts the viewer, challenging you to decide what is and what isn't useful to Honey's case while you're watching the film. This kind of narrative complexity is one of Ethan Coen's signature storytelling styles. One moment, you are following a character, the next, you are pulled into someone else's murder, and then suddenly you're seeing a sex scene or another subplot or a whatever. All the while, you're trying to figure out like which of these puzzle pieces actually fit together. Which pieces does Honey herself need to know, but she never sees, but we see, and do they all relate somehow? While it all comes together in the end, working it out is not easy, and you're left with a lot of strings that just don't kind of tie together. That confusion really becomes part of the viewing experience, and it also is the film's biggest challenge, since some of those threads eventually just get dropped and never resolved. Some of the dangling threads do get hinted at in a payoff at the end, which gives you a small sense of resolution. At the same time, it feels like Ethan Coen was working hard to position Honey Don't as the start of a small town PI series. Personally, I would have preferred if the film had fully focused on this story rather than setting up a possible franchise. Even so, Honey's case delivers a meaningful emotional payoff at the end, and that makes the journey feel worthwhile when you kind of get down to it. There is so much in this film that really didn't need to be there, that some of the scenes really felt like padding, as if they were added just to stretch it to feature length status so that they could put it in the theaters. Trimmed down, it could have been the perfect length for an episode of a streaming series or HBO Max or Apple or Netflix or something like that. That said, Honey Don't is artistic in every way. It is sexy and it's stylish. It's totally bold storytelling, and it pulls you into its world with this intensity that reflects a creative team that is working with more freedom than we often see in cinema today. It is so fresh. And, I am tired of saying the word fresh when it comes to films because for a while, films were not fresh. But the stories that we're seeing right now do feel pretty new and unique. And this one feels really feminine and it gives off these retro vibes that, I don't know, creates a very distinct personality for the movie, which I think is really nice. That's the one thing that it really does well. At times, it definitely feels like it was originally designed for streaming, but then expanded for the theaters once they saw how dynamic and eye catching Margaret Qualley is on stage. I mean, she looks great. I really enjoyed Honey as a character, and Margaret Qualley is outstanding in the role. She plays Honey as the smart and sassy girl while steering clear of the dreaded girl boss trope. Her strength, it really lies in her intelligence and her ability to handle awkward situations with confidence rather than bulldozing through them. Quayle gives Honey a real lived in humanity that makes her feel believable as a detective. She's so down to earth, which I really like. Chris Evans as Reverend Drew Devlin is another highlight. He brings a smarminess to the church that is sometimes shocking to see on screen, even though we know things like this really do happen behind closed doors. You never expect to see it. He is handsome and charismatic, and he uses that charm so effectively that you just might question your own faith by the time he is finished. And Charlie Day as Detective Marty Matakowicz is a comic ray of sunshine. Honestly, he's so funny and he's surprising because his character is basically this lazy cop with an obvious crush on Honey. Without him, the film might have felt real slow, more plotting, and so much less layered. And I know that probably sounds like it might have been a good thing, but his character actually kind of up levels everything, which was really needed in this story. I love the way that he keeps awkwardly trying to ask her out, never quite grasping that she's into girls, not guys. That tension is both sad and funny. And at the same time, he shows a low level admiration for her skills. Or maybe it's just the way she walks in those patent leather high heels that gets his attention. The dynamic between Honey and Marty creates this non romantic spark that really makes the film so much more fun to watch. Honey never lets his flirting bother her, which speaks to Margaret Qualley's ability to convey both confidence and empathy simultaneously. If there is a part two, I would love to actually see a bit more of Marty, and I'd like him to take on a bigger role because he was definitely a bright spot in this story. Visually, Honey Don't is stunning. Honey's fashion sets the film's style and tone, which is feminine and smooth, blending a contemporary sensibility with just the right touch of retro flair. The set designs and signage, the architecture, all of it, it creates this small town backdrop that really feels like a slice of modern Americana that is both worn in and lived in. The score, it deepens the mood as well, weaving through the story with this steady rhythm that captures the weary pulse of the town. Every creative choice works together to pull you into this world. The result is this immersive atmosphere that blends Coen's artistry and the darker story themes together. The film's strongest theme really is the interconnectedness of small town life, especially in a community that just sits apart from its nearest neighbor. There's distance between them and everyone else. Nothing stays private in these situations. What one person does inevitably spills over into the wider community through gossip or emotional reactions or even legal fallout. Lives overlap so tightly that misunderstandings and conflicts, they ripple through the social fabric, leaving people to deal with consequences they may not even realize that they caused. The arrival of this French woman provides a striking contrast to everything and everyone else. She does not fit into the Americana vibe of this film, which makes every interaction with the locals feel charged and dynamic. This touch of dissonance adds to the film's authenticity and it grounds the story in a really believable way because it's like a thread coming in from the wild and just like tearing things up along the way. The town is not just a backdrop in this movie, it really becomes a character of its own, shaping the story and reminding us that in a small town, everyone's business is everyone's business and it can chew you up and spit you out just as easily as any big city. A word of warning though, if you are uncomfortable with sex scenes or nudity, this may not be the film for you. The sex in Honey Don't is far more graphic than you will expect. There are multiple scenes between men and women, as well as women and women, ranging from soft and sensual encounters to explicit use of sex toys and elements of S&M. This is not a film for children, and it is not appropriate for young adults if you do not want them exposed to this kind of content, or if you're not willing to be exposed to this kind of content. What's unfortunate is that the trailers and the marketing material do not hint at this level of graphic detail in these scenes. And you should really keep that in mind when deciding whether or not to see this film and who you decide to bring with you into the theater because you don't want to feel uncomfortable. So, Honey Don't, is it ticket worthy? Well, if you enjoy a stylish mystery or thriller with a sexy edge and a visually distinctive artistic style, I think you will find a lot here to enjoy. Honey is a complex feminine character who is fun to watch, and the cast brings solid energy to the story. That said, be prepared. The film takes you down storylines that go nowhere and feel like padding, and it also includes a significant amount of nudity and sex compared to most films nowadays. If those elements do not appeal to you, and if you want a film that has a much quicker pace and better timing, this may not be the right film for you. Or it may be one that you choose to wait for and watch on streaming instead of in theaters. So, have you seen Honey Don't? If you did, was it what you were expecting? Did it deliver for you? I'd love to know what some of your favorite detectives are, since this is really one of my favorite genres, and I will pretty much watch any detective film. Thanks so much for being here. Please give this review a thumbs up, subscribe, and share with a friend who might be thinking about seeing this film. That's it for now, you guys. While you're here, please do check out one of the other reviews. Be sure to drop a comment, and I will see you all again soon. In the meantime, happy viewing. Bye for now.